As we drop the curtain on a rain-soaked night in Green Bay, and just before kickoff, the rally cry for the Vikings coming from Brian Robinson talking to his teammates.
Hey, it rides on us tonight. It rides on us tonight whether we win this game. We got the whole nation watching us tonight. All right? Let's play for each other and let's kick their butts, man. They can't play with us when we can't bring our A game. Let's go. Trenches on three. 1, 2, 3. Trenches.
And we'll have a chance to see if that Vikings defense has, in fact, brought its A game, because they'll be on the field first. Green Bay won the flip and will take the football. 62, rain and fog and possible lightning during the course of the game. Blair Walsh to kick it. Harris and Hyde back deep for the Packers. And week 5 of the NFL season is underway with a touchback. So Aaron Rodgers coming off another tremendous performance down at Chicago last week. 4 touchdowns, no picks. And he reached 25,000 career yards, the fewest attempts ever needed to get to that milestone figure. 11 fewer passes than the previous record holder, Kurt Warner. Already on the season, 9 touches, only 1 interception. And they're going to come out with a 3-receiver set to open the game. Devontae Adams, the rookie from Fresno State, is the extra wideout, along with Cobb and Nelson, who are so dangerous as a duo. Little play action, and Rodgers throws it in the area of Randall Cobb, and incomplete to open things.
Well, it's interesting when you watch this Green Bay offense, Jim. They don't do a lot, and one of the reasons why they don't do a lot, it's Aaron Rodgers knows it so well. He can react to whatever he sees very fast. And on the defensive side, Minnesota, don't try to get the sacks. Rushing as a unit, make Aaron Rodgers stay in the pocket. That gives you the best chance to win.
Rodgers upset with himself with that first pass that got away from him a little bit. Cobb was open. Here's Lacy sidestepping contact and taken for a gain of 5. Lacy's been off to a really slow start to this season. Hasn't had 50 yards rushing in a single game.
Well, you know, talk about this pass rush. The defensive front, you heard Robinson talking about it before the game. It is a lot up to them. Rush the quarterback. Stay as a unit. That's what Mike Zimmer told us. So everybody stay in kind of a line so Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any of those lanes to run up into and make those throws down the field.
Rhodes, a first-round pick a year ago out of Florida State, slow to get up. He made the tackle on Lacy, and that's a lot coming at you.
Yeah, good form tackling. Gets his arms out, hits his shoulder, and you can see him shaking his left arm as he walks off the field. Now, hopefully he can come back on for Minnesota's defense, because in his second year, what a difference watching him play over his rookie year. Yeah, 1 year better, but Mike Zimmer is a expert when it comes to teaching defensive backs how to play well in the NFL.
Jabari Price comes in for Rhodes, and Green Bay with a 3rd and 5 on the way. Price at the bottom of the screen. He's on Andrew Corliss. Green Bay did not punt once last week at Soldier Field. Trying to pick up a first down here on the opening drive. Across the middle. Lacy, and they are going to bring out Mastay to punt as Hodges moving up into a starting position in on that tackle.
Well, you know, Jim, a couple things. The speed of the linebackers comes up. Look outside. This is going to be important. This Minnesota defense, they will get up and challenge the wide receivers. The Detroit Lions did it to the Green Bay Packers and had very good success.
Mastay not only didn't punt, same case for Chicago last week, only the 2nd time in NFL history there was not a punt in the game, and this one by Mastay will go inside the 20 and settle at the 14. A 58-yard boot, and Ponder will come out to the 14-yard line. No stranger as far as Green Bay goes, and you see his career against the Packers. Lost his first 3 through 5 picks in that stretch, but he hasn't thrown an interception in his last 3 matchups against Green Bay, winning 1 and having a tie on this field just last November.
Came in, talked to us last night. He was in really good spirits. Then you realize a big smile on his face. He likes this opportunity. Of course he wants to play But the other thing is, he loves the offense that Norv Turner has brought to the Vikings. Says, this offense fits me perfectly. We'll see if he can get it done here tonight.
Their third different starter in the first 5 games, and they go up the middle. Asiata, boy, he bounces off one hit and then is able to take it for a gain of 3. Mike Daniels the first to get to him.
Well, you know, there's a lot of pressure on this defensive front for the Packers. They've been hearing it. When you talk about run defense, it's about the defensive linemen. They must play well, protect the linebackers. And I think if Christian Ponder, he's on the other side, Jim, he's going, man, give me some of those plays that Teddy Bridgewater had early last week. 4 throws behind the line of scrimmage and some big plays. That'll put a quarterback at ease.
2nd and 7. Now he's looking to throw. He's got pressure. Rolling out of the pocket with a flag down, and that's thrown out of bounds. Jones was applying the pressure on Ponder. Brad Ellen is our referee tonight.
Holding. Offense, number 71. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
Called on Load Holt. And Brad Allen in his first year as a referee in this league.
71, right tackle, gets caught. The move inside by Dayton Jones. Load Holt, a really good run blocker. He is massive, 6'8", 343 pounds. Could be heavier. And the quick pressure. Christian Ponder, they want him to be patient. Stand in that pocket. But that time, no choice. Had to get out there.
And they want him to be careful because the ball is now back near the 9. 2nd and 15. Asiata. He's got maybe a yard right into the arms of A.J. Hawk. To think that Ponder was inactive the first 3 weeks of the season. Back since 2008. Ponder, you see, has had the most starts at this position, but they've had 9 different quarterbacks start. Bridgewater last week led them to victory as they amassed 558 total yards under Bridgewater's direction, but out with the ankle here tonight.
Well, they took advantage of Atlanta's defense. The play calling was excellent. The game plan for Teddy Bridgewater, and quite honestly, he executed it perfectly.
6 defensive backs in for the Packers from the end zone, setting up screen, and it's dropped. And Matthews was there to defend it anyway. Had it been caught, probably would have been a loss of a couple.
Yeah.
Asiata didn't hold on.
That's a good call. The crowd's emotional. The defensive players are tired of hearing it, and they are flying around. Clay Matthews, when you watch him, he's everywhere, lines up everywhere. And the speed of the Packers in that first series overwhelmed the Minnesota's offense.
Jeff Locke to punt. Right at the goal line. Randall Cobb. This is a beautiful punt, by the way. Drops back to the 34. Waits for things to form. And the Vikings surround them. Some 5 or 6 strong. 56-yard punt. Harrison Smith, the one who eventually ended the return. Each team 3 and out on a night in Green Bay, which will be beautiful to watch in the rain, won't it?
5 letters here for everybody out there in Packerland. R-E-L-A-X. Relax.
Man, I tell you, he was pretty relaxed when he said that. It's
Yeah,
like one of those relaxation tapes, man.
Well, you know, listen.
Relax.
It's always easy to say these things when you're probably one of the most talented players in the NFL. That helps. And this is not a knock on Chicago, but it's not the best defense in the NFL. He knew he was going up against that too. And last week they had a awesome week on the offensive side.
Well, that was about addressing the fan base that was all upset after a 1-2 start. And last week the offense got going. That's what they've been looking for. And here comes Lacey, breaking one into the secondary and down to the Minnesota 43. That's his longest run of the short season. It goes for 18.
Well, from behind, as you watch it, you're the runner, Eddie Lacy, as he goes to the right side. When a defender falls down, Josh Sitton cuts the defender down. Eddie Lacy sees it. That's what you hope for on a outside, what they call zone run. Worked perfectly.
By the way, Rhodes is back in at corner near side for that defense. And Lacy again's got a big gain. Butts heads and keeps on going. And that is Rhodes who brings him down. He ran over Blanton, and after an 18-yard run, this one goes for 29.
Josh Sitton gets a great block. Bakhtiari, the left tackle, gets a good block. They're playing man coverage. Nobody watching the running back. The linebackers are not there. The corners never see it. Two big runs by this Green Bay offense.
And I had mentioned he had not had a 50-yard performance in the first 4 games of the season. He's got 52 just 4.5 minutes into this game. First down from the Vikings 14. Lacey gets another call and another big hole. And it's Lacey down to the 8, running with great gaps right there in the open for him. Another 6.
It just shows you run the ball with that ease against the Minnesota front. It does have size. I told you they have speed. That tells me they're worried about one thing: the throwing of Aaron Rodgers. You better buckle in and dig in a little more to stop this run game. They even were crowding the line of scrimmage and still couldn't stop the run last play.
3 straight runs to Lacey. Now Rodgers going up top, going to the end zone, and he's got the touchdown. It's Randall Cobb with his 6th touchdown catch of the season.
No secrets. Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun, sees that it's going to be man-to-man coverage. And Randall Cobb, when there's 3 wide receivers out there, is going to be covered by Captain Munnerlyn. On the inside, he's got outside technique. Don't lose it to the outside, and Randall Cobb just outruns him. So you got the right defense called to stop the out route, but Randall Cobb quick enough to still get it done.
How about that? 6 touchdown catches in just 4 games and not even a quarter of a 5th.
Well, they're talking about there last week. I think they found the rhythm, the passing game. Aaron Rodgers was sharp. The receivers were involved. Everybody was just catching it with ease and running after the catch, and they started here tonight.
Crosby adds the extra point. Aaron Rodgers with his 10th touchdown pass of the season. And Cobb had missed both games last year against Minnesota with a knee, but he makes his presence felt tonight with a touchdown. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Macy's, T-Mobile, and by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. Down the road in Appleton, hometown of Harry Houdini, who was born there, known as Eric Weiss as a young boy.
There you go. You're always teaching me. I enjoy that. Fun
we were in
facts.
Appleton just yesterday. The Vikings were overnighting there, met with them.
Yep. You were giving us the fun facts about the city, so.
And they're hoping to get a little magic going here tonight after a win last week against Atlanta. You see Patterson back deep. He had a 109-yard return last year against the Packers. And he's going to come running out with it. And he's tripped up at the 21 by Hayward.
Well, I understand why Harrison Smith, the safety, is doubling the weak side receiver Jordy Nelson. So Munnerlyn is one-on-one, trying to disguise the look to make it think like it's a blitz. But Aaron Rodgers not fooled. And they can throw and catch with the best of them. We all know that.
As Button shifts to the backfield, they're going to throw on first down. Ponder's throw is in traffic and incomplete, intended for Patterson. Never miss a moment of the action. Get instant scores and breaking news on the go from your phone. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app now.
Well, it's a new quarterback, the Green Bay defense. It's raining. He's on the road. They are pressing these receivers from Minnesota and basically saying, you know, you're going to have a hard time getting those easy passes. A screen, Ponder throws one away, and nobody open on that one.
2nd and 10. Siata driving, churning, and he's got 6, maybe 7.
He is a hard runner, Jim. You said it. He's gone from last year in the mid 230s. Now he's 220 pounds and runs with power.
How about the way they have found this running game, of course, with Adrian Peterson remaining out indefinitely with the charge of child abuse pending against him down in Texas. He's on the NFL's exempt list. And last week they piled up some big numbers. And it's Asiata on third down, and he butts heads in. I believe he's going to have it. We met with Asiata last night. What did you think of this guy?
Well, he's waited his time. He's worked hard. You always have to feel good for guys like this. Practice squad, Ben Wade. And as we watched him play, he says, we don't have a nice guy off the field, but now put that helmet on, I changed.
I'm a different guy.
We see that.
Out of the University of Utah. He got a start last December because both Peterson and Gerhardt were out, and he had a 3-touchdown game. In the pocket, it's Ponder down the field. His man was open, and the pass was off the mark for Jarius Wright.
Jarius Wright, it's a good move, but what technique on the outside. Down here, Devon House, perfect coverage, doesn't get fooled by the inside release, and that's why there was really nowhere for Christian Ponder to throw the football.
Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, and you were telling me before the game they need to get Ponder a couple of early easy throws for his confidence and for his team's confidence in the quarterback.
Absolutely. Let him believe that we have a chance, but nothing easy so far. Green Bay's taking the easy throws away.
He's 0 for 3, throwing again. He's got his first hit. And it's to his tight end, Chase Ford. First completion goes for 7. Of course, they're without Kyle Rudolph. He's going to be out for at least another month with the sports hernia.
Well, this time it's a good way to get in the game right here, Jim. Get your first completion and get hit to the ground. That always, I know it sounds kind of funny, but he stepped into it. That's what they want him to do. Be patient in the pocket. Don't run too quick. That's probably something he has done too much of his first 3 years in the league.
Of course, they played to a very rare tie in this league at Lambeau last year with Ponder at quarterback. He was sacked 6 times here at Green Bay last year. 3rd and 3, and the flags are down first. Might be a timeout, in fact.
Charge timeout. Minnesota, they're first. It will be 30 seconds.
Well, what they were doing, Jim, he was trying to change the play, something he loves about this offense. He could change protections, change the play. It just took too long. It's a big play as far as Minnesota's looking at it, and that's why they called the timeout from the sideline.
There's Mike Zimmer in his first year as the head coach, and tremendous success as the coordinator at Cincinnati and Dallas before that. Came out of the 2011 draft class, did Ponder. He was the 4th quarterback taken, the 12th overall. Look at some of these names. So interesting to look back and see who made it, who hasn't. Of course, Dalton was with Zimmer over at Cincinnati, and he's off to a big start. We'll face a big matchup on Sunday night at New England. One of 2 unbeatens in the league. There you see Teddy Bridgewater, not even dressed tonight with that high ankle sprain. 3rd and 3. Ponder to right, and he is stopped a yard short. Hit right away by Morgan Burnett.
Really good job. They got crossing routes underneath. You're going to watch them as they come under, and then once the defensive players all know where the first down line is, they pass it off, they run up. Burnett gets up there, makes the tackle. Job really well done by the under coverage of the Green Bay Packer defense.
So they manage 1 first down and have to bring Locke back out. And another beauty. Fair catch? No, he's taken off. It's Cobb. I thought I might have seen a hand, but Cobb has it out to near the 20. Tackled by Leffler, the snapper, 51-yard punt. Packers just blitzed down the field the last time they had it for a touchdown. Monday on CBS, NCIS Los Angeles is under attack in a new episode you can't miss. NCIS Los Angeles, new night and time. LL Cool J, Chris O'Donnell, Monday, 10/9 Central, only CBS.
Hey, go Bam
Starks
Jack.
is in the backfield.
Bam Jack. Bait up. Ready.
His first action of the night. As he makes the cut, he gets tripped. That was Tom Johnson with the tackle.
Well, that time they finally got off some blocks. The defensive linemen, they were stuck to the offensive linemen of Green Bay the last drive. The cutback, that's what you have to do. Be ready for it. Stay in your rush lane. And Johnson gets the tackle.
2nd and 8. And it's over to Quarles. And Andrew Quarles has a first down for the Packers.
Well, I remember coming up here in preseason, they were hoping that Quarles would turn into the receiver that he is showing. In other words, once the games, he wasn't doing great in practice, but they said for some reason when the game it's on, he runs good routes, makes the catches. Saw it last week, and nice catch there.
His 9th catch of the season. Two tight ends with Richard Rodgers, rookie out of Cal, being the other.
Triple. Beta. Ready.
And on first down, there goes Starks again. And able to turn the corner on Blanton. Here we are, the first NFL game of October. And has Rodgers ever taken advantage of this month, his last 7? Take a look at some of this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's probably a graphic we could run just about every month for Aaron Rodgers' career. I mean, he's had so many times where spurts, the numbers, how he plays, it's been spectacular. That time they should have stopped that run for a 2-yard loss.
2nd and 7. Fakes it to Starks. Now going for the deep ball. Nelson is there, and he's got it for the touchdown. Jordy Nelson at the quarter pole, the league's #1 receiver by yardage and catches, and he gets free for the 66-yard touchdown.
It's the double move. They play action. They keep everybody in to give extra protection. What a job by Jordy Nelson. Sells it to the outside. This is the one play that you see him run. I've seen it about 5 times. I think he's thrown 4 of them for touchdowns. And Jordy Nelson stays focused even though he knows he's wide open. In fact, I think the last time we did a regular season game here, Jim, we saw the exact same play for a touchdown.
Last week, Nelson had 2 touchdowns. Cobb had 2. Now they've each got 1 here in the first quarter. How about this little moment? Rodgers coming over to his coach to celebrate, and Nelson with the Lambeau leap. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And by Ameriprise Financial, more within reach. The Cheeseheads, Formation Incorporated in St. Francis, Wisconsin, with the original Cheesehead, #1 bestseller. This all started this craze down at the Brewers games. And of course, it is so prominent here anytime you make your way to Lambeau Field, which is a must on anyone's bucket list. These last 2 touchdown drives with a total of 8 plays for the Packers. And here's Patterson, a yard deep. And Patterson's breaking one across the 30, but he's got a flag as he is knocked out by Hyde just past the 50, a 53-yard run back that's in all likelihood coming back.
That's another big play for this Vikings team. Take some pressure off field position. Nope, backed up once again.
During the return, holding number 39 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Called on Jabari Price. And for Rodgers to Nelson, this is Rodgers' 199th career touchdown pass.
Free release up the field. You get one of the best wide receivers in the NFL with all that room against a safety. And when you throw a touchdown that's well designed, yeah, they're excited. He goes, yeah, good job, Mike. Why don't you draw more of those up for me?
By the way, the 199, that puts him even with Phil Simms on the all-time touchdown pass list.
He might not never pass me.
Yeah, you think so? And that slips through the hands of McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon seeing action after a huge performance last week. Rookie from Georgia Southern. Tomorrow on CBS, the new Amazing Race is on its new night, Friday. get into the action when the teams drill with the British Palace Guard. A new Amazing Race, new night, Friday, 8/7 Central, only CBS.
You know, all those starter plays that we saw last week for Teddy Bridgewater, I know Minnesota fans go, well, why don't we see those tonight? I'll tell you why, because Green Bay saw him last week, they're ready for him, and they're going to make him throw it down the field.
2nd and 10, and it's McKinnon. And this speedster last week taken in the 3rd round had 135 yards against the Falcons. Without Adrian Peterson, who played week 1, a blowout win by the Vikings at St. Louis. They were behind weeks 2 and 3, so they never got it cranking, so you're not going to see numbers reflective of anything close to what they had in week 4. The 558 yards and no turnovers. It's the first time in Minnesota history they had that much yardage without a giveaway. But now they face a 3rd and 7. From the pocket, and Ponder is taken down at the 5. Hawk was in on it, along with Nick Perry.
Well, it's the blitz. Here they come right up the middle. They just really overpower up front, and they push the pocket back, and there is nowhere for Christian Ponder to move. Once he slides the coverage, nobody open down the field as I was watching. So nothing going right for Minnesota's offense or defense right now.
Micah Hyde is just past midfield, and this is a short punt. He'll stay away from it. No, he'll field it. And swallows it up right at the 50. 43-yard punt. And the Packers off to the fast start. 14-0. First quarter. Lambeau, a little Lambeau legacy, if you will, at that quarterback position. Most touchdown passes, franchise history. Favre, Rodgers, and the great Bart Starr. 199 now for Rodgers. And your record could fall here in the first quarter, my friend.
You don't like my chances?
No, I don't. Play action. And he's looking for another long one. He's looking for Nelson again, and it's stripped out of his hands at the last moment. Good play by Rhodes.
Yeah, he saw the hands of Jordy Nelson go up because he was beat. But Rhodes, 6'2", as a corner, that's a good thing about being tall. He saw the hands go out, puts his hands in front, and hits it. But Jordy Nelson, the move at the line of scrimmage and created separation right away. This is a really excellent play by Rhodes.
319! 319!
2nd and 10. And Lacey able to squeeze out a yard.
You know, one thing, that long play action pass for a touchdown, Jim, Minnesota said the heck with that, because when those wide receivers get against their safeties, you have no chance with Aaron Rodgers throwing it. So right away, these first 2 plays, be right up on those wide receivers, and at least you hope you take away some of those shots down the field.
Already 151 yards. We still have 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. Minnesota's been dreadful this year on 3rd down.
Different look. 2 blitzers by the center. Oh, he faked him. He saw what's going to happen. The blitz is probably going to come from that side. Yes.
3rd and 9, and Rodgers trying to slip out of it twice, but not the 3rd time. Floyd finally finishes him off.
Yeah, that fake snap count of Aaron Rodgers, the defense declared, he knew it. Here comes the blitzer. He didn't change the protection. It's Smith. He just knows he's going to be free, shakes him, but good discipline by the other linemen. Look at that. They're all surrounding, and that was, like we just heard, play your keys, do it right, and Sharif Floyd gets the sack.
Rodgers wasn't even touched down at Chicago. The Bears got credit for a sack, but that was when Rodgers, in fact, just ran out of bounds. He was never hit in that game, as the punt is fair caught by Sherrills at the 10. 49-yard punt by Mastay.
Well, Jim, watch these runs. No defensive lineman can get off the block. They're stuck. Sitting Bakhtiari, nobody gets free. Eddie Lacy runs down the field untouched. And that leads to what? Good play action, block it up. And the double move, and Aaron Rodgers does the right thing. He throws it across the field, not down the field. So many quarterbacks throw it up the field, and it goes incomplete. Minnesota, North Turner, you got to come up with a play that's a guarantee to get this offense rolling.
Starting inside their own 15 for the third time in 4 drives. And Asiata has a gain of 3. Asiata against the Falcons got 20 carries, 3 touchdowns. His second free touchdown game. I mentioned he had one last December when Peterson and Gerhardt were both injured in his first career start. And McKinnon, what a change of pace.
Yeah, well, remember, what was McKinnon? He was a college quarterback. Now, he's a running quarterback, but still quite an adjustment, and he's done it well.
2nd and 8, and Ponder has the first down to Red Ellison. The pickup of 12.
Well, not a great start by Christian Ponder, but not that bad either. The opportunities, nothing that he's really missed, but he hasn't turned it over, Jim, and so that's good. It quit raining. That's going to help for these quarterbacks. This kind of humid weather, that football, man, it's nice. You can grip it and throw it.
First down, Asiata picks up about 4. Mike Zimmer, 58-year-old head coach for the first time. Talk about facing adversity. Lost his first 2 quarterbacks. First Matt Castle out with a broken foot. Then Bridgewater after 1 start out with an ankle. Out with his top running back, top tight end, top linebacker. But they're 2-2, and last week there was a spirited effort for sure. Fake Ponder down the field, and Wright cannot hold on. Really faking to the line to no one. And Ponder trying to pick up about a 30-yard play to Jarius Wright.
Well, he gets hit on this play, so what does he do? He stays on that back, stays back, throws it, protects himself, and that throw to Jarius Wright was beautiful. But the coverage by Williams outside is on the mark.
You saw Ponder got hit after the release, and he's back on his feet. And again, he's backed up by a guy who's been a Viking for less than 48 hours, Chandler Harnish. 3rd and 7. And Asiata tries to fight for it, but falls a couple shy. There is Harnish, who was on the Colts roster, coming out of Northern Illinois. He was Mr. Irrelevant back in 2012, the last pick in the draft. He is the backup quarterback tonight. We've reached the end of 1 at Lambeau Field, and the Packers are up 14-0. You're watching Thursday Night Football. First quarter that belonged decidedly to the home team. 2 first downs by the Vikings. 2 touchdown passes by Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson, and Mike Carey along for any rules scenarios, as that punt was influenced by the pressure and the fair catch made by Cobb at the 33. 34-yard punt down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. It's been raining on and off. Right now it is dry, but you can see behind me the field is just a little torn up, but I was told no problem. It's not going to get muddy down here because it is a sand-based field. It has grass and synthetic fiber inside, so there is no issues whatsoever. And I was also told in terms of changing spikes, they shouldn't have to do it because it is sand-based. One thing to note, they have the surface tablets out here this year, and that is good because in the rain, you know those still shots, they can get really wet and hard to read. Jim?
All right, thank you, Tracy. And the rain has pretty much subsided at the moment as the pass comes over to Starks for no gain. Wrapped up right away by Smith.
Well, you know, another thing that helps the field, now they can, even rain can't destroy these fields, but look at the footballs that these guys throw. They're so dark, they rub them up, and the weather, the grip is so much better than it used to be. So a little rain gets on that football, it absorbs it, and really doesn't affect the quarterbacks at all.
2nd and 11. And on the draw, it Starks. He's got a gain of 6. And how many footballs do they get to handle before the game, each team?
Well, each team has 12 ready.
They prepare them themselves. Quarterbacks get to look at them, but then they have 12 backup for each team on a wet game like this outdoors.
It's Mike Carey.
You know, he said it, Jim, these quarterbacks get to look at them, touch them, make sure it's perfect. Here's that double-A gap. Look at 2 guys, one on each side of the center. Let's see if they have the answer this time for it. It's coming from the other side maybe this time.
3rd and 5.
Ready, ready, stop! 319! 319!
And it looks like Griffin of the Vikings was across. It was 3rd and a long 5.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, we've seen it in games past. You know Aaron Rodgers is going to hard count. He gives you a W. They're not dummy call that time. And you've got to be patient. You can't jump off sides. Especially against an offense like Green Bay's when you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. You pray to get him in 3rd down. You got it 3rd and over 5 yards. Then you give him 5.
Here's Green Bay with a 66-yard touchdown strike to inflate that number. 3rd and less than a yard.
He's doing those hard counts because he wants to see the defense react, not necessarily to draw you offside.
Calls timeout on this occasion. Rodgers, who loves these Thursday games, comes in with a big positive attitude, and he has a tremendous record on Thursday nights to back it up. By the way, we heard earlier from Brian Robinson from the Vikings defense. Here he is again.
Don't start that. Let's go. Let's calm down. Let's play our keys. We're good. Let's calm down, play our keys.
Robinson in his 8th year out of Texas. They need to play their keys right here as the Packers will come out with a 3rd and short.
Well, they accomplished one of their goals tonight. They have not let Aaron Rodgers get outside the pocket, but he's making them pay from inside.
The running back is Starks. Adams to the near side.
319! 319!
On the toss, Starks. And he's hit right away, and that defense does in fact stay with its keys. And they stop him short.
Yeah, they did. I said they did.
Can't imagine at your own 43, you've got a 14-0 lead. Would you do anything here that could get the Vikings a short field?
I would not even think for a second.
I wouldn't either.
Now, the only thing that Mike McCarthy was thinking right here, well, should we go out there and do one of those shifting hard counts and see if we get lucky? I would think Minnesota would be ready for that. 14-0. Do not give Minnesota a short field to work with.
Marcus Sherrills waiting. 3rd punt of the game by Green Bay. And that's into the end zone. First touchback of the season against the punter, Mastay, for a net of 38. Vikings offense needs to get cranky. Down 14-0. Tonight, catch the advanced premiere of NFL Network's original series, Finding Giants. Take a never-before-seen look inside the life of an NFL scout. All new Finding Giants tonight at midnight, only on NFL Network. Hunter looking for some options. Finds one on the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Wright. North Turner. This is one name that kept coming up when we were talking to Mike Zimmer. How much it meant to him to have Norv to rely on as a first-time head coach, to have him as his coordinator.
Well, yeah, so many situations come up, Jim, for a new head coach, and Mike Zimmer can always walk in there and go, hey, I got this problem. What are your thoughts about it? And North Turner gives him some ideas, and then Mike Zimmer can go out there and solve those problems.
2nd and 10. And it's Wright again, this time with the catch and a gain of 7. Jarius Wright last week, just out of nowhere, exploded for an 8-catch game, 132 yards. He had a lot of practice time with Bridgewater, and that chemistry carried over.
It did carry over.
Game.
And you watch him, he's polished. He can really run. Why is he polished? Don't forget, he played at Arkansas. When you play at Arkansas, he was under Bobby Petrino, so they threw the football a lot, and they are excellent at teaching wide receivers. There's Christian Ponder's last 10 attempts. Too many X's there, red X's.
4 out of 10, and here he is on 3rd down. Ball comes out. It's ruled incomplete.
Yeah, that's incomplete.
It was jarred loose, by Casey Hayward right out of the arms of Asiata.
Well, you know, the Green Bay pass rush is probably the story so far here in this game. He's not getting enough time. That time he had a little more, but when you get pressured as a quarterback 3 or 4 times in a row, well, what are you going to expect the next time you drop back? You expect, hey, it's going to come. I got to get rid of the football.
Vikings have run 20 plays. They picked up only 2 first downs.
Can't switch field position either.
39-yard punt. Ponder is thrown for only 28 yards. The Packers already with a couple of Lambeau leaks. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Walmart. Save money, live better. State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount. Double check today. And by AARP, Real Possibilities. You're in downtown Green Bay at the Neville Public Museum. They've got the Packer exhibit on display. Touchdown Packers Hall of Fame feature, it's called. And Lacey is back in. Lacey off to a big start in this game. 5 carries, 59 yards.
319! 319!
Fake to Lacey, and again the long ball, and the receiver Adams fell down.
Aaron Rodgers shows his disgust that time, and the coverage was good, but what he tried to do was fire the football down the field and get it there before the corner was ready. And Josh Robinson, good job. Turned, didn't touch the receiver. Couple good series, the last 2 for this Minnesota defense.
319!
Adams, who was Derek Carr's target at Fresno State, high draft pick. With a screen pass, Lacey spins away, but not the second tackle. Barr hit him first, and then Smith closed in on him, holds it to 2.
Yeah, they got a good mixture when you look at this Minnesota defense, and it's the beginning of what we saw, what Mike Zimmer did with the Cincinnati Bengals. They got some size up front. They think they got some pass rushers, and they had speed at the linebacker position, and it showed that time by Barr making that tackle.
Trying to take the Packers offense off the field in a hurry for the 3rd straight time.
Different look, 3 down linemen this time.
3rd and 8.
That's why.
And Rodgers throws it out of bounds in the area of Adams.
Jim, what they did that time, they're going to 3rd and long. Let's put 3 down linemen, and now you have somebody to spy the quarterback. So Aaron Rodgers, he takes off, and look what happens. There's a guy. So excellent defense. Mike Zimmer is the defensive coordinator. That's 3 good series in a row.
Punt caught at the 5, and they fake the reverse, and Sherrill's tackled at the 12. 58-yard punt. Packer defense coming back out. They've held the Vikings only 47 yards so far. Vikings start at the 12. That should have never been caught by the returner Sherrills. Cost him 8 yards. It was a line drive that definitely would have been a touchback. That's a 4-yard gain for McKinnon, as the Vikings have managed very little offensively.
Well, there's only one good thing when you see that script they've had so far here, Jim, is what? They haven't turned it over, so they haven't thrown that gasoline on the fire. And that was a good run that time by McKinnon. It's a good situation now. You can run or pass.
2nd and 6. Here's McKinnon with a flag out. Tackled at the 19 by Williams.
Illegal use of the hands, by hands to the face. Defense, number 76. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
Called on Mike Daniels. Minnesota's average starting point has been its own 15 and has not gotten past its own 41 in this game. That's the first Green Bay penalty of the night.
No great running hose for the runners. Christian Ponder has not had time to really find and settle in, find that extra second receiver, and it makes you antsy when you get hit almost every single play when you're throwing the football.
First down. Ponder is sacked for the second time. And Daniels, who just got flagged, this time gets the sack. Pressure first felt by Clay Matthews.
Well, Clay Matthews, number 52, on the outside. Oh, he just did a little. You're worried about the speed. So what do? You protect the outside speed rush, and he's so quick. Up and under the spin makes Ponder move, and then when you make the quarterback move, defensive linemen able to get off their blocks.
A loss of 8. Second and 18. And they go screen. McKinnon gets past Hawk, but not past Burnett. And a gain of 6.
Nothing is clean so far for this Minnesota offense. Ball gets tipped. Pressure all over him. Nobody's open down the field. And then this time he's going to throw it down the field. As he gets ready to throw it, he changed his mind and threw it outside, but it was going nowhere anyway if it was caught.
Dayton Jones off that defensive front hobble to the Packers sideline. As Bridgewater looks on at 3rd and 12. Ponder. And that last move for the first down pays off for Chase Ford. Had just 1 catch on the season coming in. He's got 2 tonight.
Good job knowing where the first down is. And he falls. It looks like he falls right on the line. Good spot. Mike McCarthy was looking at that spot to see if he wants to challenge it, because that's a big play by the Minnesota offense.
First down carry McKinnon. Now we got a flag out after a gain of about 3.
Mike McCarthy, Jim, was running down the sideline watching the board to replay with the flag ready to throw it.
Offside. Defensive nose guard moving into the neutral zone prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. First down.
LaTroy Guion. Flag for that one. Coming up, the Lexus halftime report. JB, Dion, Coach Coward will break down all the first half action on the Lexus halftime report. First and 5 for Ponder and the Vikings. He's picked off. Picked off by Julius Peppers, who's high-stepping it home to the end zone for the touchdown.
Could not see who hit the football. The receiver slips. They're trying to throw it down here. Patterson is open. He falls down. Ponder, he gets back up. It looks like he's going to get there, but his arm gets hit. The football falls short. And how about Julius Peppers? Lost some weight, playing like the linebacker position, and you can tell how fast he is.
Julius Peppers with his 5th career touchdown.
And look who hit it. Luther Robinson
just
signed and brought to the roster
today. A rookie from Miami. He had come in for Dayton Jones, who we mentioned had hobbled to the sideline a couple of plays earlier. So Luther Robinson is the one who influenced that pass to land in the arms of Peppers. And the extra point makes it 21-0. Watch Peppers. That magnificent career for so many years with the Panthers, most recently with the Bears, and now making his presence felt in a Green Bay uniform. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Wendy's. Barbecue pulled pork, served 3 tasty ways, and by The Judge from Warner Brothers Pictures and Theaters. October 10th, Brown County Courthouse, for the first stockholders meeting of the newly formed nonprofit Green Bay Football Incorporation.
Well, you know, Julius Peppers said, I've lost this weight. I feel so good. I'm so much faster. And you know what? I agree. He looked pretty fast running that interception back.
And that is 8 yards through the back of the end zone. Peppers with a 49-yard interception return.
Well, it's a play-action pass. They keep extra blockers in to give him extra time. Luther Robinson comes in, hits the arm, makes the football end up short, and Julius Peppers does the rest. The offensive line has just had an awful start for Minnesota.
Look at Luther Robinson. He played in all 4 preseason games, got cut on the final cut, and just re-signed today to the roster. And the Vikings give it to Asiata for 2. This Monday, get ready for a brainstorm. See why critics are calling Scorpion brainy fun. Scorpion, Monday at 9, 8 Central. After the Big Bang Theory, only CBS. As you look at the quarterback comparison.
Yeah, I think we all know what it's going to look like. And Christian Ponder needs help. The offensive line, Clay Matthews, that last play was middle linebacker. Now he's an outside linebacker pass rusher.
2nd and 8. Intercepted again. This time it's Lattimore. And tackled by Ponder at the 19.
Well, the pocket's closing, but watch the hesitation this time. Christian Ponder hesitates, doesn't throw it with conviction. And when you do that as a quarterback, it spells trouble.
Back-to-back throws picked off by the Packers.
You could see him double clutch the football, and that gave him a little extra time to get there. And even if he throws it online, Clay Matthews coming fast the other side. Christian Ponder comes in, makes the tackle. But the offensive line, Christian Ponder feels the pressure. They can't run the football. They're not giving him extra time. They're close to his feet. He's making his first start. Hasn't taken many reps with the offense in practice, and it's an official disaster right now.
First down give to Lacey. Looking for something to unfold. And they'll give him forward progress for no gain. You go back to the second half of the Chicago game last week for the Packers and take return yardage in that one plus return yardage tonight. They now have 162 return yards in the last 4 quarters. That's about 50 more than they've allowed by the quarterbacks they faced in these last 4 quarters.
Well, look at that. Interception, return yards. Look, they're a defense that's fast, and they do play on emotion. And when they get rolling their way, well, you can see they jump around and take advantage of how athletic they are.
They're also on a 45-0 run since the second quarter last week. Quick toss. Wallace near a first down at the 10.
Well, they tried to blitz. They got to Aaron Rodgers earlier. 2 guys coming to his right side, but they were ready that time. The formation got rid of the quick to Corliss. That's what you have to do when you get blitzed. Whichever defender is playing off the receiver, if he's running the short route, of course, you throw it to him.
We're a yard shy of the first third down. They go spread with Lacey, the running back. Touchdown, Devontae Adams. His first NFL touchdown. And his first leap.
Yeah, how about that? That's a great moment for him to come up here as a high draft pick. It was tough during training camp, but he's one-on-one. Aaron Rodgers looked out in the flat first. What a job by Adams. He beat Josh Robinson. He slowly learned the offense, and last week in Chicago, you looked at him, and I watched him. I said, oh my gosh, he's catching on, and he just adds now to this receiving corps.
And that's touchdown pass 200 for Aaron Rodgers. All set up by the Green Bay defense, making another play. The interception by Lattimore. And then Adams on the receiving end of Rodgers' third score of the night. Well, there it is, 200. Reaches the milestone tonight of Aaron Rodgers. Of course, we know another milestone is very likely to happen out on the Mile High City on Sunday. Arizona at Denver. Peyton 1 away from 500. Just 9 behind Brett Favre on the all-time list. And another touchback. Saturday, the best game from the best conference, Alabama and Ole Miss. Begins with Inside College Football and College Football Today. So Aaron Rodgers reaches 200. Here's the top of the list.
Look at those numbers.
You know, Peyton's got a chance. We've got October 23rd. We've got San Diego at Denver. That could be about the time when he could be looking to overtake Brett at the top of that list. Asiata for 4, maybe 3. Let's go to Tracy Wolfson on the sideline.
Well, thanks, guys. Defensive end for the Packers, Dayton Jones, in the locker room right now. They are looking at his right ankle. His return is questionable. Jim?
Yeah, he, again, had a hard time making it to the sideline, and that's what brought in Luther Robinson, who influenced the pass that was run back by Peppers for the pick 6. On the blitz, Ponder. He's going to take off now, avoid the sack. Stretching it out near a first down. Let's see where they spot it. It's good enough for a first.
Really good job that time by Christian Ponder. Green Bay, man, they're giving him some different looks. Knowing that first start, watch the delayed blitz. Then makes him move, and a good job. Sees the open field and takes off. He can run the football. He's done it well in his career. Of course, when they make you run, take off.
And that scramble for 8 is Minnesota's longest run of the night, coming off 241 on the ground against Atlanta. Looking to throw on first down. Now looking to run again, and he's going to slide for 1.
Christian Ponder, Jim, I think we know, and even Mike Zimmer talked about it a little, that the fans in Minnesota have been on him they've been very hard on him, no doubt. You know, when you get drafted as a first-round quarterback, they want to see it right away. And he did have some success, but when it started to turn, you know, there's going to be a villain always in these scenarios, and they put all their troubles on him.
2nd and 9, able to shake off the sack and complete it to Ford for a gain of 12. We met with Bridgewater yesterday, and I came away thinking he felt he was maybe 1 day away. Had this been a Friday game, I think he felt he would have played. He had a similar injury at Louisville on a Saturday and played on a Thursday.
Played really well, won Louisville a big game, and took him to the Sugar Bowl that year.
Vikings with their deepest penetration of the night, that's what you call it, only to its own 45.
Well, Teddy Bridgewater got hurt on a little zone read, and they're not crazy about this. They were a little, not upset, but they don't want him to keep it unless they know it's going to be an easy run, because you never know what's going to happen in those piles to a quarterback like that, how they get hit.
Had he played at best, Mike Zimmer said he would have been not quite 50%. Should be no problem being back next week, as Asiata fumbles at the end of it, and the Packers recover. Hayward falls on it. 3 straight drives ending with Packer takeaways. 3 turnovers in 4 minutes, 55 seconds. Burnett stripped it. Hayward recovered. Turnovers are reviewed up top. There's not going to be any doubt that this was a fumble by Asiata. Ball is clearly out, and the Packers take over with 1:56 to go in the half. At their own 34. Chasing after Rodgers, and he's hit from behind, and that's the 2nd time tonight. that he is sacked, and it's Griffin.
Well, you got the speed up front. These defensive ends can run, and the coverage is good enough. Look at all the people chasing him. So overall, the defensive line, the movement of Aaron Rodgers has not been a factor.
Second and 14. Over to Starks. And pushed out by Smith after 2.
You know, Jim, you sit here and wonder, you and I talked about it, but the Minnesota Vikings so invested in Teddy Bridgewater. Their thoughts, they believe in him. They like how he works. He's humble. They see the talent, and that's all they really talked about. Everybody talking about him yesterday, and get off to a bad start. Does that really affect them? I don't know, but I know this. Their belief is real, and it's sincere what they think of him and what he's going to do for their football team.
3rd and 11, which begs the question, were they deflated when they found out that he couldn't go? Talking about his teammates.
Well, I'd say this. They'll be offsides, of course, Minnesota one more time. Same hard count.
Neutral zone infraction, number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, Jim, but you know, still at the same time, my gosh, that can't be the reason why you're losing 28-0. You got to be a pro. There's many bad things that happen to football teams all the time. Players suspended, injuries, some of your key defensive players, whatever. You got to overcome, because that's what this league is about. It's about adversity and how you deal with it. And if it affected them this much, then that doesn't say a lot about a lot of players on this team.
3rd and 6 for the Packers. And that's wide of the mark. Nelson.
And this defense, you know, they've had some good windows here. The turnovers have really gotten this game out of hand, because the defense these last 4 or 5 drives have shown some different looks. They're being aggressive, hard for the quarterback to move around, and the coverage has gotten better.
Meste. Sherrill slips through 1 tackle. Not away from the first 3 Packers. And then is ridden down with a flag out. Tackled by Sean Richardson.
You know, I always make fun of, oh, there's a late flag, because I never see him. But you know what? Mike Carey's, you stand next to me. I've seen 3 tonight. Like, the play's over, and all of a sudden, there it comes.
During the return, personal foul for a blindside block. Number 32 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Called on Exum. There is James Brown. Always wearing a warm smile.
And an expensive suit.
Yeah, that's right. Coming up, the Lexus halftime report, JB with Dion and Coach Cower. Break down all the first half action. So now what will they do with,
well, they're going to
56 seconds and ball at their own, well, call it the 9.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. 56 seconds ago, there's 2 timeouts for Green Bay. So Christian Ponder, if you just get some time off the clock twice, Green Bay would run out of timeouts now. You can run the football and run the timeout.
Timeout, Packers.
Green Bay calls a timeout because of 10 guys on the field. And if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I take a knee here. They got 1 timeout left. Why take a chance with any play?
Asiata.
You get the football, Jim, to start the second half.
That goes for 8.
You know, I'm talking about Green Bay. They have 1 timeout, so that's how I'm looking at it, not the timeouts by the Minnesota Vikings.
100. And that's over the head of Ellison.
Well, just sit here and go, I don't understand. That maybe you're trying to get Christian Ponder a little confidence here with some easy throws. It's like guys that catch punts with 10 seconds to go, Jim, in the half, and they're inside their own 10. You go, well, why would you catch it? Just let the ball bounce around. Why take chances when you don't have to?
I think of that a lot of times, even when it's not inside 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
Saw one already in this half by Sherrills of the Vikings. And that picks up the first down. Zimmer just called a timeout in 15 seconds. Let's see what Zimmer was up to with that timeout. 15. They put actually a couple seconds back on the clock. 17 seconds. And Ponder is going to suffer yet another sack. Guyon and Daniels combine on that one.
They could still call another timeout. Well, Minnesota does get the ball to start the second half.
Let's go down to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Another sack there. The offensive line has had trouble protecting Christian Ponder all night, and then those 3 turnovers. How do you shore things up in the second half?
Well, we're going to have to settle down. Obviously, we didn't play a very good half of football. We gave up a couple big plays on defense, and then we settled down there. We just got to get settled down and find out what kind of fighters we are.
What was your thought process on that final timeout?
Well, we were just trying to get some more yards, that's all.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim.
You point out that Minnesota gets the ball to start the second half. Do you think they're actually up to doing something here tonight? Because I certainly am not feeling it. 28-0. We had 35-0 2 weeks ago in Atlanta. These games are getting closer.
I'm a believer.
The Lexus halftime report is coming up. Packers pounding the Vikings at the intermission. Going to the end zone, and he's got the touchdown. Going for the deep ball. Nelson is there. Picked off by Julius Peppers, who's high-stepping it home. Adds up to 28-0. Green Bay over Minnesota at halftime. And let's double-check this highlight from the first half. And after Rodgers had hit Cobb for a touchdown, he comes right back the next series and finds Jordy Nelson roaming free for the 66-yard hookup and touchdown as we bring it back to the booth. And I've got to wonder, Minnesota at halftime, what are they saying? What's their game plan coming back out here?
Well, they're saying to the offense, just get some first downs, and if nothing else, change field position. Because look at Minnesota's defense in the second quarter, Jim. They did a lot of good things. They changed it up. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he did have a touchdown pass, but that was about it. So if you give your defense a chance, maybe you can change field position and get an easy score.
Well, here are the halftime numbers. 104 total yards by the Vikings. Turning it over 3 times in that second quarter. 14 points off turnovers. Ponder picked twice. Asiata fumbling the other time. And by the way, the 2 starting wideouts, one of whom is this guy right here, Cordero Patterson, the other being Greg Jennings, the former Packer. No catches in the first half. Crosby's kick, angled, and on one bounce is Patterson. And they close in on him quickly. And again, the Vikings must start at about the 15, which has been their average for the night, their starting point. Let's go to Tracy.
Thanks, Jim. I had a chance to speak with Mike McCarthy coming out of the half, and he said that he still sees room for improvement. He'd like to do better on third down, sustain drives, and run the ball better. I asked him about the rotation and playing both Lacey and Starks, and he said that's how it will be the rest of the game. He said he didn't get Starks any touches last game, and that was a mistake. Jim?
Yeah, Starks had 4 carries in that first half. And Patterson actually had 1 catch in that first half for 2 yards. Jennings was blanked. Asiata out across the 20. And what a tough first half it was for Christian Ponder.
Yeah, it was. You know, look, even though it was not getting protection, you still, it was only 14-0. But when you tried to press the issue, your arm gets hit. And then the uncertainty of protection and seeing the route, and that is the worst thing for a quarterback, Jim. As North Turner, I talked to him yesterday, you got to see it, believe it, and let it go.
8 of 18 for 60, 2 picks, sacked 3 times. 2nd and 5. Looking to throw here on the rollout and the throwaway to the Green Bay sideline. It was Peppers who forced that pass out of bounds.
Now they're ready for these play-action bootlegs where you fake the run and go out the other way. And Green Bay, except for one time tonight, has been all over those play actions. You know, as I was saying, what they need to do here, get some first downs, change field position, and see if your defense can keep playing the way they have. I felt like you didn't believe me when I was saying those things.
Not quite. Like I said, I'll have to see it. 3rd and 5. And Ponder just able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Chased down by Hawk and Peppers.
Yeah, just nothing is clean. The protection's not clean. This time, late blitz, step up, look down the field. Yeah, if he was looking to the right side late, you could see the in cut coming free, but it was too late for Christian Ponder.
Actually goes in the books as a 4th sack of the night. Cobb handles it, wiggles, and unable to escape. Sherrills, the tackler, after the 50-yard punt. Aaron Rodgers, 9 completions, 3 of them for touchdowns. To embark on its first second half possession. In that first half, they punted 5 times. They actually had 6 first downs in that first half. That's all. Didn't need much as they dump it off here to Kuhn. Got a gain of about 3, the fullback. You talk about the wideouts here that came off the monster games last week. Cobb and Nelson putting up numbers together that hadn't been seen in the Green Bay game since Carroll Dale and Boyd Dower back in 1969, where you had 2 receivers over 100 and each with 2 touchdowns. They're each on the board tonight as Rodgers flings it, and he's got Cobb to the Minnesota 47. Nelson tops in the league through the first 4 games in catches, yards, first down receptions. And Cobb last week, again, 113 on 7 catches. That's just his 2nd grab of the night. His first went for a touchdown. Jordy has 1 catch tonight, and that went for a score. And they actually started in a 3-receiver set. Devontae Adams, 1 catch. That went for a touchdown. It's Lacy for 9, running behind T.J. Lang.
Yeah, nice job that time. Eddie Lacy taking it outside and waits, cuts back. That's what you're supposed to do. Josh sitting again. And Lindsley, the center, got good blocks to free him up.
Minnesota's never run a play on the Green Bay side of the field.
Hey, check. Over. With bag. Over with bag. Beta. Ready. Good.
2nd and 1. Lacy. And they just blew him off the line of scrimmage. He didn't even see contact until he was a couple yards past the line. They had just pushed back that defensive front. Another 10 for Lacy. 2nd-year man out of Alabama who last year set the Packers franchise rookie record. Top rookie rusher in the league last year.
Well, when you have a passing attack like the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, you would hope you can run the football with power.
And they run it with the fullback Kuhn.
And why do you think you can run the ball? Because you have to put so much of your efforts and thoughts into covering, keeping Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. I think that's why Green Bay, they were so disappointed in their running offense.
Lacy to the sideline, 78 on 8 attempts. Starts behind Rodgers, 2nd and 7. Fake to him, and Rodgers lofts it toward the end zone. And incomplete, but a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Nelson, the target.
Trying to go for the score, double move.
Holding. Offense, number 3, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Did he say number 3?
I thought he did.
I think he meant John Kuhn, the fullback. Number 30.
But they had Jordy Nelson outside. They moved the pocket to give Aaron Rodgers the extra time, and he did a double move, but at that time, Josh Robinson was all over it.
In the last 2 games, you see the Packers are on quite a roll since the 2nd quarter against the Bears.
They've had success with this defense so far. Linebackers up by the center.
A 52-0 stretch as Rodgers comes right back for Nelson, and that draws a flag on Robinson.
That's why you have to throw the football.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic, 1st down.
Top of your screen, Robinson, number 21, stuck his hand out there and put an arm bar on Jordy Nelson. That's what draws the penalty. Oh, and he grabbed the jersey. You see the pull. But when you're playing tight coverage on the outside in this league, it's a must. You got to throw the football 5 to 6 times a game deep down the field. Why? To catch it, and for that reason there, to get pass interference calls.
A 24-yard penalty puts the football at the 11, and Lacey returns to the field.
There's almost no downside, Jim, throwing it deep anymore.
It's Lacey. Reverses course inside the 10, the 5 into the end zone. Magnificent. The big man running with great effectiveness tonight.
And he can jump. Yeah, try to pull that big man up in the stand. See if you got that.
Look at this, Phil. Contact, and he's able then to bounce off, escape another defender, and take it home.
Jim, what he is just a really good compliment for this football team. The offensive line, they worry about protecting their quarterback. You can lose your physical part of the game, but Eddie Lacy, the runs, him breaking tackles, all working perfectly here tonight.
Lacey had his first touchdown of the season last week in Chicago. Now he's got one tonight. Eddie Lacy ups the lead to 35-0. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by KFC, the world's best chicken. How do you, KFC? Verizon, more live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. And by the Lexus GX, dare to be spontaneous. Downtown Green Bay, town of 107,000. At the corner of Washington and Cherry Streets, the Packers Heritage Trail Plaza. Paul Hornung.
Yeah, nice.
His statue
of him. Boy, you walk around here, it's just a museum everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, it's just amazing.
And I'm always amazed. Is there anybody in Green Bay or Wisconsin that hasn't been here to see it? But it's always packed when you get up here, seeing all the people walking around.
Sherrills weaves out to about the 23.
Well, you got everything you want in this running play. You take it outside, the missed tackles, breaking them, 2 of them by Eddie Lacy, then the blocks down the field.
And the last man he escaped was Brian Robinson with the microphone.
Dang it!
Okay. But dang it.
Well, if he wasn't wearing that mic, I think something else would come out of his mouth.
Right. I like the odds. 1st and 10 to the 28. McKinnon with NFL Now, never miss another game highlight ever. Subscribe and you'll get instant game highlights on all of your devices. Download the NFL Now app today. Learn more at NFL.com/now.
Well, Jim, it's 35-0, and I still don't see any empty seats in this stadium. They usually wait it out no matter what the score, for or against this team.
A second catch by Patterson, and he's got a first down. They're the first to get into a stadium and fill it up. Not even close, right?
You're right.
And they're the last to leave.
I always say there's about 50,000 in the stands during warm-ups. for their team, because I laugh. I go, because they want to make sure their team is warming up right and they look good. It's really an amazing sight. And of course, the players know it's an awesome place to play.
Well, there are over 100,000 shareholders, many of whom are in the stands right now. The only community-owned team in major sports. McKinnon, first down for a couple.
Morgan Burnett once again, coverage, breaking up a pass, tipping one, and making a couple really big tackles on third down that stopped. I don't want to say they were promising drives by the Vikings, but they were trying to get that first down.
Lion!
He's played up near the line of scrimmage tonight. It has been excellent.
2nd and 7. Pass wide of the mark there for Thielen.
Just no time.
Mike Daniels was so quickly in the face of Ponder.
Yeah, but it's, you know, with a quarterback, when it's not smooth. In other words, when you can't trust it, how do you think clearly? Oh, Mike Daniels right through that time. And the answer is you can't.
Mike Daniels has had a good game here tonight. Sack and a half. Couple of hurries. 3rd and 7. Ponder's pass in and out of the hands.
That says it all, doesn't it? They finally get protection. Greg Jennings is wide open. He's an ex-Packer. It's there. The throw's a little bit behind, and he doesn't make the catch. A routine catch for an NFL receiver. House way behind him.
Jennings, who had 425 catches as a Green Bay Packer in his 7 seasons. And he's without a catch here tonight. And that bounced off the Packer player. And that was close to the sideline. And it's going to be Green Bay ball. He was out of bounds. It was Bostic who saw it glance off his shoulder pad. Just a 30-yard punt.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 19 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot. It will be first down. Timeout.
Ball on Thielen. This is the 6th year of the NFL's Crucial Catch campaign, which supports the American Cancer Society. The campaign's main goal is to raise awareness around the importance of annual screenings, especially for women over the age of 40. And the NFL donates 100% of the proceeds it receives from the sale of pink merchandise and items on NFL auction.
Flip, 540, flip, 540, flip. 319, 319.
Lacey almost able to get to a tiny seam and is able to get 4, but not a whole lot there. 7 yards away from 100. Lacey, who has not even averaged 4 yards a carry in his last 6 games. And that's not the story tonight.
Well, they played against the Seattle Seahawks opening game, tough run defense. Then you play against the Jets, one of the best, if not the best run defense in the NFL. That's going to hurt those numbers.
And they had that fumble to open the game against Detroit.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Bulaka. When you look at Rodgers' really stunning numbers, this one might be the most impressive of all time. Right. Touchdown to interception ratio, and he's a full touchdown plus better than second best, which is Tom Brady.
You know, I was kind of hoping when you watch him play, he does so many things. Of course, he has a great arm, really good accuracy, but he's so careful with the football. He doesn't throw it unless he sees it cleanly.
2nd and 11, and Lacy met after a yard. How about his throwing motion and how it changed coming out of college?
Well, yeah, when he was in college, I saw him play a lot. In college, of course, you see it on the left of your screen, but he changed how he holds the football, more natural and much more dynamic. The ball spins harder. He can throw it harder. He makes it look so easy, and of course, we see it all the time. When he's on the run, he can flick it. And I remember seeing it his third year. I talked to him, and he goes, listen, taught himself just what felt good to him. He started doing it. Man, does it work well.
3rd and 10, dumps it off Lacy. One wiggle and picks up the first down and more.
That's something he talked about during the offseason, and we up here doing a preseason game, Jim. He said, I'm not going to stand back there. What you got to like about it and not take those hits. If he looks down the field, they're not open, he is going to those running backs right away. And the first guy he singled out to us was Eddie Lacy. How much better he was in the passing game. And how would you like to try to tackle that when it's going full speed?
Well, they haven't been able to. His 3rd catch for 27 yards, 121 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. As Starks meets Brinkley head on. Tomorrow on NFL Total Access, A.J. Green and Patrick Peterson break down their team's perfect starts. NFL Total Access tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on NFL Network.
You know, Jim, I always say this to people. You know, when you get to the NFL, you kind of figure it out as a quarterback how to throw, and it's all about controlling the football. So when Aaron Rodgers, like I said, when he changed, I noticed a huge difference late in the 2nd, 3rd year. And what he did, I've seen many quarterbacks do it. Saw Peyton Manning change from his 1st year to his 2nd. And it was, he got drastic results.
2nd and 6. Starks able to slither through to the 11. Well, that journey for Aaron Rodgers and a lot of kids who are playing high school football should take note. He did not receive, talking about Aaron, a scholarship offer out of high school, so he went the junior college route to Butte College, and he went to Cal from there because Jeff Tedford came to Chico to scout a tight end, and he saw Rodgers there.
Yeah.
Of course, he slipped in the draft, kind of like Bridgewater did, to 32nd this year. And Rodgers ended up the 24th pick. Set behind as an understudy, Favre for years. Changed those mechanics. And at times now he's unstoppable. It's Lacy to the 9.
You know, the other thing is, why kind of bring it up? I always bring this up draft time. You know, you got to be careful with quarterbacks when they have some natural talent. If you tweak it just a little, you get great results. And Teddy Bridgewater on the other side, Norv Turner, I noticed it when they were in their preseason games. They went down and worked him out, gave him a few pointers, and it really helped him, how to phrase it, get on top of the football so it got more power. He was able to drive it. And I've seen a difference since it's been up there. And that was one big reason. That workout down in Miami is a big reason why the Vikings moved up and picked Bridgewater in the 1st round.
2nd and 9. And it's Lacy. He's got his 100 yards, and he's got the end zone for the 2nd time. Running right over Blanton, who lost his helmet and could not stop the bulldozing Lacy on his way to the end zone.
No, this is a running back. When you're tackling a big running back like this, if you go high, I don't like your chances. You got to go down to the knees, to the ankles, to cut his legs out from underneath, and the helmet comes off, but it doesn't stop the play. That would only be if it's the offensive player carrying the football.
Puts Lacy at 106. First time over 100 this season.
Feels like he's back at Alabama again.
Oh, man. I'll tell you again, he had not even rushed for 50 in a game the first 4 of the season. And a 6th extra point on the night for Crosby. Lacy has more yards tonight than the entire Vikings team. Charles is returning now instead of Patterson. And does a good job of it. Burnett rides him down. 45-yard return. They'll have their best starting point. But that's about all you can say that's gone their way tonight. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And all the fans that come to Lambeau, they come here.
Yeah.
Tours 365. They can take their own Lambeau leap outside.
I've told you this before. We up here in the preseason. Don't ever think about going down there and say, hey, let me try the Lambeau leap. Because trust me, that wall is a lot higher than you think.
Saw Mooch do it tonight. Here's Ponder down the middle. That's his best throw of the night. And it goes to Jennings, his first catch for 17. In fact, here's a little throwback Thursday. Here's how it all started. 1993. Ball comes out. Look at Reggie White. Actually had his hands on it. It ends up Leroy Butler does this. What a trendsetter. Now for the first snap tonight on the Green Bay side of the field. Asiata. He's got 10. Yeah, they actually dedicated that statue we showed you a moment ago, back on August 1st, and Leroy Butler came back for the occasion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I remember seeing like an opposing player at times try the Lambeau leap here when they score a touchdown. I think that goes very well for them.
That doesn't play. Might have been the Packers jumping as Asiata runs it out for 4 anyway. The wall's pretty steep. I did see Steve Mariucci.
Did he get up there?
He did. He pulled it off, I'm telling you.
Offside, defense number 97 moved into the neutral zone prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you brought it up. Back in 06, the Vikings were here. Fred Smoot made the pick of a far pass. And takes it all the way, and he tries his hand. No, get out of here.
Great.
No.
Well, you got a little shower there of all the beverages.
First and 5 for Minnesota.
It's like the Cub fans throw the home run football or baseballs back.
As Ponder's pass is to Jennings again, and another flag is out.
Holding, offense, number 44, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Asiata trying to protect his quarterback. Called for holding.
Top of your screen. Got those hands extended and holding down.
Brings the football back to the 40. Charles Johnson is in tonight for the first time. Left side. Wide out for the Vikings, and Ponder's pass on target for Jarius Wright. Gain of 18. We were talking about Bridgewater throughout the night, and you talk about how quarterbacks sometimes drop in the draft. Bortles the first quarterback taken. Of course, Manziel was next on Cleveland. Bridgewater the last pick of the first round.
Yeah, there's no doubt. His pro day at the University of Louisville, I think, made him fall out of the top 10. There were going to be a couple teams that were really high and alarmed by the workout, and I think that's what pushed him down.
That last play, the longest of the night for Minnesota, and that is McKinnon.
And you know, we talked to Teddy Bridgewater about this. I said a few things. Why did you wear your gloves? He'd been throwing down in Florida and it was going well, so he said, I'll do it in Louisville. Well, it was cold, it was dry, the football was slick, everything that you don't like as a quarterback, especially in those situations, and it really backfired on him. And fortunate for him, he kept working out, threw the ball well in Florida with his gloves. And I said earlier, that's why the Vikings drafted him.
2nd and 2, and Ponder, well, out of the end zone to right. So I got this question for you. You scout them all year long. I guess it means nothing then. It all comes down to your pro day. Is that what it means?
I think it means something to watch that pro day.
So let's start saving some budgets here. Let's quit buying guys all over the country to watch a guy play 11 times and you can't make an opinion.
You're getting confused. You're listening to the opinions of people on TV.
But you said he dropped because of his pro day.
Because those scouts were there.
Okay. So did they scout him all season long and they had him higher?
They do. I don't know that. I think once they saw their pro day, they go back and they look at his regular season and they go, oh, we see some of the problems. And I told you, North Turner has fixed some of those problems by the workout, and we've seen the difference here on the field.
Got another flag.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
I know a lot
Jim,
during last year's
go ahead.
Saturday coverage you would hear on all the networks, including our own.
Well, sure.
You would hear about the Teddy Bridgewater sweepstakes, as though this was the John Elway draft coming up.
Okay, I'm just going to say to you again, that's great what we hear, but let's go by what the NFL people think, not all of us who are armchair draft pickers.
So 3rd and 7. And a completion. That's Thielen. And they'll have 1st and goal to go.
That was a good throw that time. Couple good throws from Christian Ponder to get him down inside the 10.
That'll bring us to the end of the quarter. Green Bay has scored 14 in the first, 14 in the second, 14 in the third. It's 42-0 on a night of many Lambeau leaps. Well, Minnesota, only time it's even come close to being a threat tonight. First time the entire game in Green Bay territory. 1st and goal to go to start the 4th quarter, and Ponder takes off to the end zone for the touchdown.
That's a good job that time. It opened up, and very instinctive when you watch Christian Ponder that drive at ease. Of course, he had better protection, and when it's not there, you see a Jim with more and more quarterbacks now. Even guys that are established in the league, they take off. Don't stand there and go down with the ship.
So Blair Walsh gets to come out for the first time since the opening kickoff and add an extra point. 1 play into the 4th, and Minnesota has avoided the shutout. Aaron Rodgers is going to be finished for the night. 12 of 17, 156 yards.
Alex Van Pelt, the quarterback coach there next to him. Not many times in the NFL do you get to stand on the sidelines in the 4th quarter and act like it's a preseason game.
Yeah. And 3 touchdowns tonight for Rodgers. And Alex Van Pelt, a former quarterback in this league out of Pittsburgh.
That's right.
He's a backup up in Buffalo, and he's been a highly thought of assistant coach for a number of years now. And it was Alex Van Pelt who was telling Rodgers going into the preseason, point of emphasis here, don't extend plays.
Yep.
Get the ball out quickly. Avoid hits.
Well, that's right. And Aaron Rodgers was all behind that because of why? Because he got hurt last year, and he does a good job of not getting hit. 2 times the ball falls off, so you have to now hold it.
So Prater comes over to assist. Now they change. It'll be Sherrills. Seeing Matt Flynn, quarterback for Green Bay. His 4th quarter. Walsh drills it through the back. Rainy night, but anything but dreary for the Packer faithful. Thursday Night Football, sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes. Could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Outback Steakhouse. Outback, no rules, just right. and by Corona, who invites you to find your beach. Now the Cheeseheads out in full force. Matt Flynn seeing some playing time as Rogers sits down the rest of the way, I'm sure. And Starks has 2. Matt Flynn, of course, was a backup here and had that one brilliant game when he threw 6 touchdown passes against the Lions. It earned him a big contract. He went to Seattle, signed as a free agent, but lost the job there to Russell Wilson. Traded to Oakland, lost the job to Terrell Pryor, and got cut by the Raiders, only to be signed here last November and come back and play like
well.
he did in the old days. Say old days, but formerly when he was with Green Bay.
Well, familiar with the offense, of course, and just the surrounding and the coaching, and he took advantage of it.
Starks. Another 4. No reason to see any more of Eddie Lacy after his 13 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, the offensive line, Jim, I'm sorry, when you just watch some of those replays, you can see linemen as he's making his cut and up the field still on their blocks and driving defensive linemen all over the field. And Eddie Lacy, we said it, he's so big, you let him get started, hard to bring him down.
Flynn on 3rd and 4. And he's picked up by Harrison Smith. Flynn's first pass of the season is intercepted. Harrison Smith, who told us he's these days been staying after practice and catching about 100 balls after every practice.
That's right, with the assistant equipment manager, and it's paid off. He says he's tired of being in position and not making the play by getting the interception. That time Matt Flynn was going to run it, and at the last second decides to throw it.
Watch Flynn at the end of this play. And that was a little bit of an awkward moment there.
Yeah, it was. See his knee kind of moved as it hit the ground, his right leg.
The third quarterback, Tolzien, is inactive as Ponder goes to the end zone, and it is caught, but was he in bounds? He was out. It was Charles Johnson, second-year player out of Grand Valley State.
A couple times tonight, the Minnesota Vikings have been very close to big plays down the field. One other foot out of bounds, clearly out of bounds. Had chances earlier in the second quarter to make a big catch down the field, and they missed it.
2nd and 10. And they give it to McKinnon. Still not down. Finally Hyde was able to take him to the ground, but he's got a first. Here's the next broadcast window for the NFL Sunday. On CBS, you'll see Houston at Dallas as our main early game, and then the doubleheader action, most of the nation, Kansas City at San Francisco, all starting with JB and the team in the NFL Today studios. Tony and Coach, Bart and Boomer. Flynn appeared to be moving around all right on the sideline. Here's a 1st and 10 throw by Ponder, and he's got his target, Jennings, with another 1st and goal to go.
Yeah, it was a really good throw that time over the middle. He sees that Jennings is going to get hit by the safety, so he pulls him up and throws it just behind him so he can catch the football and protect himself.
A few boo birds come out after Jennings makes the catch.
Yeah, every time the football's been thrown his way, I've heard the crowd boo.
1st and goal. And it's McKinnon going to be knocked back about 5 yards by Micah Hyde and others. Well, you look at Lambeau Field, Jennings had 23 at home in the regular season, 53 overall as a Packer. Second and goal. And Ponder, nowhere to go. Hit by Guyon. Nose tackle has his first sack of the season.
Yeah, Green Bay talked about number 98, middle of your screen. Didn't get to play in the preseason, injured, but pressed into action. They lost B.J. Raji, and they need him to really be a force inside against the run and getting pressure on the quarterback. That's just an added bonus.
And that's the 5th sack by the Packers tonight. Third and goal back at the 16. Took a while to catch it, but McKinnon takes it to the 7. And they're actually going to bring out the kicker. They're going to attempt the field goal on 4th and goal.
Well, I think this is Mike Zimmer. He is just playing it this way like he did at the end of the first half. He told Tracy Wolfson just trying to get some extra yards for the offense and confidence. And here it's just about making sure he gets 3 more points. It's cosmetic, but he's doing it because he thinks it makes a difference for his football team.
26 yards and a kick by Blair Walsh is good. 42-10 now, Green Bay with 10 minutes to go. Don't we love being able to deliver this news right here? Congratulations to our great vice president of CBS Sports, Steve Karasik, his wife Alyssa, on the birth today of their little boy, Benjamin Lee, born this morning just before 10 o'clock back in New York. Everybody's doing great, and big brother Eli is very excited about things, and we are too, for the entire Karasik family. Flynn will be coming back out for his second series after throwing a pick. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Fuel your training routine at Subway. Subway, train hard, eat fresh. And by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. Lambeau Field opened back in 1957 as City Stadium and was renamed 2 days after Curly Lambeau's passing in 1965. It starts for a gain of about 2. These quarterbacks who won Super Bowls for the green and gold: Bart Starr, Brett Favre, 3-time NFL MVP. Of course, Aaron Rodgers winning down in Dallas. He's now got 12 touchdown passes on the season. Andrew Luck has 13 to lead the league, and we'll see Andrew and the Colts next Thursday night down at Houston. 2nd and 9. Steps again. And able to slice it up to about the 25. Next week we're going to visit the AFC South. And the Colts, after that 0-2 start, are now clicking. And how about Houston? More wins already than all of last year at 3-1. Colts, Texans, be a raucous scene down in
J.J. Watt
Houston.
picking up where he left off from last year.
These two teams have taken the last 5 AFC South titles. That city's going to be fired up about a Thursday night primetime game. And there's the pass on the mark to Janis for a first down.
Well, Jeff Janis is an interesting story from Saginaw Valley State, and he was a guy during the preseason. Every day they would say, Aaron Rodgers said it, Mike McCarthy. He would just make a play that you go, wow, did you see that? And of course, he was a superstar at Saginaw Valley State and made so many good plays during the preseason. They couldn't even take the chance of putting him out there and having another team claim him. So he's on the roster and getting some action here tonight.
And he has his first NFL catch with that last one. Timeout call by Flynn. Coming up next, the Mazda postgame show. Interviews and analysis of tonight's game. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson down on the sideline. Mike Carey up in the booth with close rules examinations after his retirement. Tonight's referee, Brad Allen. The open spot. A fine job here tonight. Here is Flynn's throw. Right between two targets. So the Packers are going to be 3-2 after tonight. They'll be at Miami, 10 days out. Carolina then will be coming here at New Orleans. What about the Saints' 1-3 start to the season?
Yeah, I don't. You know, when you look at it, defensive problems, giving up big plays, but you know they built that team for the offense to go out every single week and be extremely productive, and that's not happened for them this year. I think one of their big problems.
2nd and 10. Starks putting on the speed to cut that corner. Takes it out to about the 40. Picks up 6 inside of this division, the NFC North. The Lions at 3-1.
I think that's when you look at the division, Detroit, we knew Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson. We know about that. But their defense has been pretty good so far. They played extremely well against Green Bay. They went on the road. They beat the New York Jets in a tough outing. And Jim Caldwell has got them organized. And they're not making those silly mistakes that we've seen them make in the past.
3rd and 4. Flynn moves the chains. That's Janis with another catch. His second on this drive. We'll see the Lions on Thanksgiving Day hosting the Chicago Bears. Meanwhile, Minnesota's schedule heading home at 2-3 after tonight. They will be hosting Detroit. Then at Buffalo and at Tampa Bay. Of course, outbound Tampa beating Pittsburgh last week. Its first game back after we saw that 56-14 game down in Atlanta.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Turned it around. So that tells you something about this league, doesn't it? Teams, players are resilient, and they can bounce back.
To the 50. So Mike Zimmer and Minnesota, they will travel back home about 275 miles west of here, and they know that they'll have Bridgewater back for that Detroit game. That's almost a certainty.
Yeah, it is, and that's a big deal for them. And to give them, after this game, you lose like this, you need something to give you an emotional lift. And having your quarterback come back, hey, that'll give everybody some belief. And there were some good moments for the defense here tonight. They had a stretch where they played very well.
19.
We talked about it earlier. They believe in their quarterback.
2nd and 7. Starks drop behind the line. Loss of 1. Week 5 of the NFL season continues Sunday on CBS and Fox at 1 o'clock Eastern time with this slate of games. You can check your local listings for the game in your area.
You know, kind of hard to say it and look at the scoreboard and say the defense had some good stretches, but I think they did. You know, 42 points. A lot of it came off of turnovers. And when the offense is doing nothing to take the pressure off the defense, you know, finally in the 3rd quarter, they broke down.
Well, the 3 turnovers committed by the Vikings in the 2nd quarter is a difference maker here. And that's a pass to Cobb, who stays in the game. And he has it to the Minnesota 45. Short of the first, they'll bring Mastay out for the punt. They forced 5 Green Bay punts in the first half.
Well, Green Bay had 1 first down in the 2nd quarter also. That kind of gets lost because the turnovers just turned the game upside down.
That 1 first down was a touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. And the fair catch at the 8 by Sherrills. Again, coming up next, the Mazda postgame show. Interviews and analysis of tonight's game. Let's take in this week's version of Phil's 5 coaching innovators.
Yep, Joe Gibbs, single back offense, kind of brought that to the NFL. Dick LeBeau, the zone blitz, which worked great for many years. Buddy Ryan, everybody's still running parts of the 46 defense. Bill Walsh, the West Coast offense. You hear it all the time. And Vince Lombardi, the Green Bay sweep, changing the blocking schemes of offensive linemen, change their assignments as they come to the line of scrimmage. To my knowledge, the first coach to do that.
Here's Ponder going for the bomb and overthrows Charles Johnson. What was it about Lombardi to you when you think about Lombardi and all of his innovations and gifts to the game?
Well, so many of them, and he was so tough on the players, but when you read about him, he was tough on them all week, and right before the game he'd go, I think you're great, you're going to do well, I love what you do, I really believe in you. So right before game time the day before, he would build them up, and that, he treated them great, took care of them. They stayed in the equipment, publicized his team before other people started doing it.
2nd and 10 run for
I think
5.
that's quite a few things, Jim, that people don't realize about Vince Lombardi and what he did.
How about Lombardi if he was coaching in today's game? How would he fit in?
Well, what do you think? What would be the first reaction when people would say, oh, there's no way he couldn't do it?
Definitely.
Because of his style. Of course, he's a people person. He knew how to touch people. And when you do that, you can coach in any era.
3rd and 5. 3.5 to play. And Ponder picks up the first down with the pass to Thielen for 16.
Good throw by Christian Ponder. Good timing.
I noticed you didn't have Bill Parcells on your top 5.
Well,
is everything okay?
It's all great. It's just not right. I can't put all my friends on these lists.
Okay. So he was excluded. Friends and family.
Yes. Well, he
was not eligible to win.
Listen, he coached a lot like Vince Lombardi.
That's what I was going to say.
He did.
Here's Ponder. Nice pull down for the catch. Thielen again.
He was as tough as they come. They came, on you physically and mentally, but he would always try to pep you up before game time.
Yep.
Nice catch over the middle. As I always tell people, shoot, you couldn't wait for the games. That way you could kind of get away from some of that stuff.
Go!
Here's Ponder. And they've got him for a 6th time. And I'm going to bring up 2 more names because that was about innovators, not greatest winners. Shula and Landry.
Well, Tom Landry had a lot of innovation, there's no doubt. He started the Cowboys, the up and down, the offensive linemen. He brought in the extra running back in passing situations. Shotgun by Roger Staubach. And Don Shula, just the winningest coach of all time.
2nd and 11. Charles Johnson thrown down. I'll give you one more. Hank Stram was an innovator, and he beat this Minnesota team in Super Bowl IV. He was a great one. Lacey to the end zone. Magnificent. He's got his 100 yards, and he's got the end zone. 42-10 romp. Packers over the Vikings. And talking to A.J. Hawk leading up to this game, he talked about Rodgers being the ultimate leader. And this is a team that really takes heed when he speaks up. And in this case, it was that very quiet, mellow, relax.
Yeah, that was pretty
And
cool.
since they kind of got that message, look at what they've done these last 2
Well, they
weeks.
have. The offense has been terrific. Tonight we saw the speed of the defense. And, listen, Aaron Rodgers, all the players know how good he is. So when he talks, they listen. And he does have a command about him. When you're around him, you know he's the man. You can tell.
No question about it. Rodgers tonight only had to complete 12 passes out of 17 throws, 156 yards,
50.
and the 3 touchdowns.
Lion.
But am I right, Jim, though?
Now there is something about
the players.
Rocco.
Yes,
Rocco.
we even heard it from the Viking players. Harrison Smith, the safety, said to the young guys, listen, what you see on film, I know it looks great, but when you're there in person, it's really unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
you can't appreciate the throws he makes until you're out there. That's what he tried to tell his teammates, Harrison Smith. So it's 4th down coming up.
But he does. I like this about Aaron Rodgers. There is an edge to him, and I think you understand what I'm saying that way. And that edge is great at the quarterback position because it keeps his teammates on edge because they're worried about sometimes his wrath as well as the coaches.
4th and 4. And Ponder and the offense will stay out there. They got the first down to the 30 with Marquise Gray in his first catch.
Yeah, how about that? College quarterback, did a little bit of everything, and it's built himself into a tight end and pretty good blocker. Developing those skills, and he's going to be a pretty good tight end in this league.
Yeah, had a little bit of time with the Cleveland Browns last year. Norv Turner had a close-up view of Gray, so ends up following Turner to Minnesota. 1st and 10, and a ball through the hands of Gray. Christian Ponder. He had just a short week to prepare for this starring role tonight. What do you think he takes out of this night?
Well, it was a very short week, and of course he's had limited action in practice all the way up till this week. And hey, there's a little solace in the fact that he's played well here at the end when the game was over. But I can imagine what they're going to say in Minnesota. This game, they didn't lose it just because of Christian Ponder, that's for sure.
He's got it down to the 19 with Thielen. I know one thing he's going to do because the team's going to get a few days off. They'll be off until Tuesday. Ponder gets babysitting chores this weekend. His wife, Sam, the fine reporter for ESPN. They have a little baby girl, 3 months old, named for his college coach.
How about that?
Little sweet Bowden
St. Clair, yes. Well, she works, he'll babysit, and he'll reflect on this game. And yes, it was a tough outing, but there was more than just him here. To think that they lost this game strictly because of Christian Ponder is way off base.
From the 19, Ponder almost intercepted. Breaking on that ball was Casey Hayward, the third-year man out of Vanderbilt.
Casey Hayward, when you look at this Green Bay team, they're short of players up front, but linebackers, defensive backs, they are deep. We saw that during the preseason, Jim, and we thought they were going to be deep on the defensive line, but they've had some injuries, and of course, the one they lost in the third preseason game we were here was B.J. Raji, kind of unsettled them a little bit.
Roger.
Ponder somehow got it away to Banyard. Banyard makes the catch as Ponder somehow escaped another sack.
Yeah, really good job. Sees, makes the decision. He's not going to be able to make it if he tries to escape the pocket.
Go.
And 1st and goal to go at the 9. And right back to Banyard. They call a timeout.
Yep.
When you think about the Packers and the Vikings, you think of all their history and the one part of it that they share, Brett Favre. There's 2 seasons with Minnesota.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
He's the last Vikings quarterback to win a game at Lambeau Field back in 2009.
When I came up here and saw Brett Favre throw the football in many games here in practice, whatever, I said, my gosh, in the history of the Packers, they'll never have another guy that can throw the football like him. And
I love what you were talking about, how you saw Rodgers just trying to really kind of mimic him all those years as his understudy and learn how to throw the football in a whole new way.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what, just Brett was very natural, and of course when you watch Aaron Rodgers, very natural too.
To the end zone and incomplete. Almost caught by Chase Ford. They're going to retire Favre's jersey next year in the fall of 15. He'll be eligible for the Hall of Fame in 16.
And he throws tonight just out of the reach of these receivers.
I say eligible, of course, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
First time ballot.
Pretty cool. them retiring his jersey, Jim, and getting back up here and reuniting really with these fans once again.
And that'll be next year.
Right.
Twice 15.
3rd and goal, 23 seconds.
I'm Rams. It's coming again.
Batted down by Williams. Okay, I got one for you. 2 weeks ago, we had the biggest blowout margin in the history of Thursday Night Football, and that precedes our time here, our short time, broadcasting the Thursday night games, going back to the 06 season when it started. Last week was 31. Giants over the Redskins, second biggest blowout in Thursday Night Football history. This one right here has a chance, if the Packers can keep him out of the end zone, to move up into the 2 position. It's all coming down to this.
That says it all. I'm excited. Can't wait to see what happens.
Here we go. Ponder's pass incomplete. And this one moves up to number 2 on the all-time Thursday blowout list. We have the top 3 of the last 3 weeks.
Well, here it is late in the game. Green Bay says, we're not going to give you that easy touchdown. And they come with the blitz. And just go back. Why did Mike Zimmer call the timeout? Because you do it for your football team, put some extra points on the board, make it look a little better, and help their pride somewhat. No doubt about it. That's why he called the timeout.
Ponder tonight, 22 of 44 for 222 yards. No touchdowns passing, 1 on the ground.
And, listen, this is not where it's a tough night for Christian Ponder. Teddy Bridgewater, if he comes back. Look, Christian Ponder's still going to be that backup quarterback, so you have to overcome it and get ready for your time, because it could come again this year.
Well, it's gone final. This was 28-0 at halftime, 42-0 after 3 quarters. Second most points that Green Bay has ever scored in a game against the Vikings here at Lambeau. Mike Zimmer and the Vikings are 2-3. The Packers at 3-2. And when we were here in the preseason, you thought Green Bay had a real chance this year to make a run at the NFC title.
Yeah, it's early in the year, but after that 1-2 start, you start to question everything. But these last 2 games have been solid and very impressive, especially for the Green Bay Packers offense.
Yeah, they're getting set for the Mazda post-game show. We'll raise the set. We dropped the curtain about 3 hours and 10 minutes ago, thinking this one might be pretty interesting tonight, but the Packers way too much too early. 42-10 is the final. For Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson, Mike Carey, and all the crew. Jim Nance saying so long from Green Bay. You've been watching Thursday Night Football. We'll join the studio after this.